Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's figure out what is happening to Tesla today on a pretty beautiful day that we did expect. Yesterday, we talked about how, is Tesla ready to rip? And I mean, lo and behold, we're ripping today a beautiful almost 5% on the day, closing at $196. $1.37. So pretty damn good stuff, especially compared to the market that was pretty flat today, doing a whole lot of nothing really. So always a nice thing to see. But as usual, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live. That link is of course down below. For just $3 a month, you get access to all my thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis on Tesla options flow every single day. My members, we've been talking about this move for quite some time. We've been bullish pretty much since 180 that I've been talking about in the videos as well, but more in detail, of course, with my members. And we've been talking about this move ready to go today. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it's no surprise to anyone. We also discussed it in yesterday's video. And the good thing is the fact that this move did happen on elevated volume after some, lower than average, we'll say, volume the past several days, about a week or so of, trading. So nice thing to see, right? The two green days that we had in a row are both on a nice elevated volume. So always a plus. Now, let's talk about it. What does this mean, right? So is it over? Is Tesla just going to move to 220 or something like that from here on out, or is there potentially some issues here, or really what's to be expected? Of course, as usual, I'll share my thoughts here. Personally, I think that Tesla is going to find some rejection here, right? We talked about this level many times, and I have been talking about this level many times, about 198-ish to as high as 205. Now, again, I want to make it clear, there is still room to run for Tesla. I think it can still definitely go a little bit higher, potentially even actually get closer to 198/99-ish, right? We'll just say 200 to make it simple, or even as high as 205, which is where we rejected all the way over here. I still think that's a very real possibility for Tesla, right? But, and this is a pretty big but, right? The risk reward is what matters here, right? That's what you really care about. Like if you're someone that for whatever reason has not entered Tesla all the way back in these levels, all the way down here, that it was just constantly trading in the low 180s for, which was that entry point, or if you maybe snatched a few shares in the 170s, high 170s, right? This was that place to enter, right? Now is not a place, in my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, just my opinion, this is not the place to chase, because the risk versus reward to go up a little bit higher to 198 to maybe 205, it's possible, but it's not. I personally wouldn't think it's worth it. Like I'm starting to sell cover calls against my shares now, right? I wouldn't risk it. I just my opinion. So the main reason for that is, well, first of all, the band's regression. We are now approaching some pretty damn overbought levels on the daily chart, right? Again, usually when we enter these kind of levels, whether it's overbought or oversold, we snap back in the other direction pretty dramatically, kind of like what we did over here on earnings, right? We came here, we were oversold pretty substantially. We were oversold here, the same level, we are overbought here, and look what happened the next few days. We kind of went sideways for another day, and then we snapped back up to the median line. Came over here, oversold, snap back up, right? Ultimately, from down here, right? Overbought, snap back down, right? Again, you want to be careful with these things, right? It is overbought. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no more room to run. It still means it can definitely go higher. It's just a matter of statistics, right? It's just a matter of probability. Is it worth that, risk reward up here to go even higher as a bull versus maybe waiting for a pullback, right? Just my opinion, of course. Everyone has, do what they want to do with their own money, of course, as usual. But that's how I look at it. The 1 hour chart, even a more extreme example of it, right? Same idea. And probably one of my favorite time frames other than the daily chart to look at these kind of situations. Now, also, whenever we've been overbought or oversold, we've always snapped back to the other direction. Now, I've said this many times, and I will reiterate something I have been saying for the past several days. I said this, right? When we do break out, which arguably today is that day, I do expect us to stay overbought for an extended period of time. Usually when Tesla gets overbought, it comes down pretty quickly. It comes back down to the median line almost the next day. I don't know if that'll happen. I don't think, as of right now at least, that that's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe by Friday, honestly, right? As it kind of meets us somewhere closer to 191. I think that's possible by Friday. But, and I said this many times, I do expect to stay overbought for an extended period of time. So for instance, on the daily chart, what can that mean? That could mean the fact that we don't necessarily just crash back down all the way over here to like 181 to meet back in the middle to reset the stock, if you will, on this overbought condition. I personally, and this is what I want to see, I want to see Tesla still come back down. I still think it will come back down to about 191, where on the 1 hour chart, it will actually reset the stock by like Friday, let's say, 191 roughly. I think that can still happen for sure. But what I want to see on the daily chart is instead of coming back all the way down to this white line, which is almost that 20-day moving average, I think I have it set to like 23-day moving average, pretty much the same thing, whatever, right? I want to see this come to us, and I want to see Tesla come down only a little bit, about 191, maybe worst case like 187, right? But I don't want to see it go much lower than 187. And then I want this to meet us somewhere in that range of 187, 191, something around there. That would show strength for Tesla. That's going to show the fact that Tesla, this is an actual move up. There's strength, there's buyers. The sellers are not stepping in and the buyers are stepping in. So that's kind of what I want to see from Tesla moving forward, right? That's what I'll be eyeballing and what I'm kind of quote unquote expecting or hoping for, right? That's my overall thought process moving forward. Again, the MACD still looks phenomenal on the daily chart. RSI looks great. Stochastic still flip bullish, but it is starting to get overbought a little bit, right? It is starting to get to a little bit extended levels. Now, there's still a bit more room to run. There absolutely is, but it's starting to get a little bit overextended here. And obviously, if you look in the historical performance of the stochastic, in the past, well, you can see many times, every time it's been overbought to these levels, it's come back down at least to the halfway point, if not all the way back to oversold conditions on the stochastic. So you want to be careful with these situations, right? People are very euphoric right now, and rightfully so. And, when people were scared, we were saying, you know what, Tesla's not looking too bad here. Now people are getting euphoric, and I'm kind of starting to slowly flip the other way. Maybe it's not the best place to enter a fresh bullish position. I think if you enter here, you're really playing with fire, honestly. But ultimately, what I'm trying to get across is this, especially in the weekly chart. Tesla still looks great. I still think Tesla's gonna go higher. Ultimately, I still think 205 is in the cards. I honestly think even 220 is in the cards at some points, right? To really test this overall, final boss trend that I like to call it, right? Somewhere about 220. I still think that's in the cards. But for the short term, at least for the next minimum for the next few days, I do think we're toppy. I think we're potentially looking to retrace here. I think that we're going to come back down to about 191, maybe as low as about 187-ish. But I expect that to hold. I expect the stock to kind of go sideways from there. I expect a reset from the overbought conditions, and I expect us to kind of base and move up even higher after that. That is my current expectations. Also on the 1 hour chart, pretty much as the market closed, we did print a pretty textbook looking inverted hammer candle in an uptrend, right? Obviously, I think we can all agree this is a bit of an uptrend in the 1 hour chart. Beautiful looking inverted hammer candle. Obviously, it's a bearish reversal signal. Doesn't mean it has to follow through, but it is a bit of like a caution sign, if you will, here, in my opinion, which can signal the fact that, yeah, we're going to slow down here. Doesn't mean we have to crash back down to 191 or 187 as early as tomorrow. We can. Doesn't necessarily mean that, though. But at the very least, what this should mean, at least to me, is the fact that we're very much halting the upward momentum, at least for now, at least for the next few days, maybe until deliveries come out next week. That is a possibility. And we'll see where it goes from there. But that's kind of my overall general thought process on Tesla right here, right now. Again, we were bullish. We talked about Tesla. I talked about how I think it's going to break out. I told you how I personally have more faith in the upside than the downside. And that's exactly what has happened. And now that we finally got that move, and even though there is still technically and arguably a bit more room to run, the risk reward, not phenomenal. I'd personally throw out some caution here if you're entering a fresh bullish position at these levels. Take it for what it's worth, right? In terms of options flow, obviously, I think it goes without saying, Tesla, interestingly enough, actually, only 18 million in confirmed calls today, which, because there was a lot of, like a substantial amount of calls that came in on Tesla, but I would assume a lot of them took profit on these calls that, I'm sure did pretty generously or handsomely rather today. So in terms of options flow, I'm going to assume a lot of the call options got taken profit on, but still 20 million in confirmed options flow, which is pretty decent to see, right? And there was a lot of cash or covered calls being sold on Tesla for about $197 and $200 per share for this Friday and next Friday is what I saw as well on these options flows as well. So by the way, if you want to use these options flow for yourself, I have a link to both of them, Black Box and Cheddar Flow, down below. And you get a discount for using my link to sign up. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But with that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I got for you today. Let me know what you think down below. Ultimately, I think Tesla needs to cool off a little bit here. I think the run is beautiful. I think the short term is a little bit overbought. It needs to cool off. But I think the overall trajectory, especially with this breakout on this green trend line, now truly being confirmed, yesterday was semi-confirmed, is looking good. It just probably needs a bit of a retrace, bit of a cool off after this massive run. Small cool off. I don't think it'll be a big cool off. I think it'll be a small cool off. And I think we're ready to go higher. I really think at the very least we'll come up to about 205 at some point, maybe in July, honestly, at this point. And then potentially August or a run up into the Robotaxi event, 220s, I think is not completely out of the picture as it stands right this very moment. So yeah, with that being said and done, thank you so much for watching. And as usual, I'll see you for the next one. Peace.